Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of CampusCare EdTalks. I, Sakshi Jain, your host for the show, would like to welcome you all. EdTalk is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints related to education and society. Our topic for discussion is guiding principles for social emotional learning at school, and to express their viewpoints on the same we have with us Mrs. Neeta ma'am, Mrs. Neeta Ashok Yadav, principal of Vidya Bhuvan School, Kivale Durod. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. So good to have you here. Thank you so much for taking out your precious time for this show.
Okay, so good afternoon, all of you, and happy to see you all. I just wanted to introduce again myself, Neeta Ashok Yadav, working as a principal in Vidya Bhavan School, which is situated in Kivle, Devu Road. Yeah, so thanks for inviting me.
Most welcome, ma'am. To start off with the session,
Thank
ma'am, the first question will
Yes,
be, what do you understand by social emotional learnings?
Great question, ma'am. Which is very necessary. Now, this is a necessity of today's period. As we know, we are all come up from the COVID situation. We faced a lot, and where the mostly it is affected to the children. Like they were at home, they couldn't go to the garden place. They couldn't go and meet in the school to the friends and all. So it is lot affected to the students and the children most probably. And we can say ki by social and emotional learning, in my opinion, that is capacity to recognize and manage emotions. After recognizing, we can solve the problems very effectively, and with that, we can establish a positive relationship between students, teachers, and with the society.
Absolutely, ma'am. Coming to
Yeah.
another question is, ma'am, how to build social emotional learning in classrooms?
Yeah, classroom, it's a very great place, and where the classroom, that is very necessary to maintain the social emotions of the children. Like, frankly, there are multiple ways to handle the emotions of the children. Sometimes the teachers comes and she enters with a frowny face and all. It affects the children more. But if the teacher comes with a fresh face or with a little smile on her face, and instead of waiting for students to wish them, she can say, "Hi, students, how are you? Good morning." If any of the child was absent for some days and the child is coming to school, so teacher can directly say, like she can directly coordinate with the child, "Ki, beta, what happened to you? Why you are absent? What was the reason?" So if the child feel like we are somewhere like house atmosphere, the child will feel, and he can immediately be free with the teacher, and he can say what are the problems, whatever the he suffers and all. And second thing, there are five keys for us. For example, we can start a day with the in the class where we'll check in. We can say, as I told you before, we can say, "How are you?" And whatever the lesson we are going to teach in the class, we can, instead of reading the lesson, we can teach them as a story. We, instead of telling like word to word, line to line, the children will understand more good. Or any of the topic, we can make a dramatization of that lesson. So this, like, audio visual, the child listens, that affects the child more. So this is my way of thinking. And second thing, we can allow the children to work in a group, because they'll understand when unitedly, when they'll work, they'll understand the social awareness and all, and they will get a good relation with the what do you say, the friends and for circle, and they can come up with the many good qualities of the other children. So this is the answer which I wanted to say. Yeah,
Absolutely,
ma'am.
ma'am. So it is just like playing individual as well as in a team, good team, to
Right,
understand how
right,
team spirit works, and
right, ma'am.
connecting the teachers socially as well as emotionally, so that they can understand exactly what is happening with the child, and
Right, ma'am.
to connect and to have a better understanding, wherein it's sort of a personal relation rather than going to a school where another 35 or 40 students are coming along, and it's just that if you have a connect that way, then it feels more like coming back to a place. So build.
Connection is more important, ma'am. Connection is important.
Absolutely, ma'am. So yeah, so ma'am, what are the guiding principles for social, economic, emotional learnings at school?
Yeah. Again, I can divide it in the five principles of this, like whatever. Like first is like create. Like we can create many ways to the for the students. Like it's not like that. That some are slow learners, some are good learners. Instead of saying them ki you couldn't understand, we couldn't say like you're not a good learner. Instead of that, we can create a way for that. Like according to Grace CCA pattern, that some of the child may not be good in the study, but he must be or she must be having some of the qualities where we can if we provide his facility like whatever the he wants to do. For example, he loves to play a drama or he loves to play a music and all. We can especially what I do, I call the parents. I'll tell them ki what are the interests of the child. You first see that it should be fulfilled, so ultimately the child can get the interest in the study. And nowadays, through music the child can learn well. So this is main thing. So opportunities can be created. Second thing, we can integrate the class. Like for example, we can design the class like a unit based according to real life. As I told you before, we can teach the lesson by creating a drama in the class. For example, any things we wanted to say or any topic we want to teach as a signal, or we are any blind person is crossing the road, we can create a drama. We can prepare the children in that way, so child will get the real life examples in the class. So according children will learn. And second thing we can empower, like we can provide the children the many datas. Through that, like we can tell them, like some children are very less like they couldn't understand the conversation well, or they couldn't speak well in English and all. So we can provide the data how they can improve themselves in their conversation and all. So in that way, we can try to solve their social and emotional learning and the problems what the children are facing. And these things can be done in the school basically because there are different types of students and who may face like you to say that before also I told, due to COVID, many children have lost their parents and all. So some children are very emotional. So to understand the emotions and to understand to bring the children again back to their old place, that is a big job and great job which can be done, especially in the education field. And we are trying to do it, ma'am.
Absolutely, ma'am. So
Yeah,
it's like, like you said, bringing all, it can happen best in schools is because we have, different students from different culture and different schools and different backgrounds and different way of, making them grow and have a different upbringing. So definitely it's a place wherein you have a lot of emotions, you have a lot of sociality to life, and you have a lot
yes,
of different uh, mindsets, coming to one place and thinking and brainstorming, and then, coming up to something creative and more interesting.
right, ma'am.
Absolutely. Socially, if you're involved, you will definitely, some day or the other will be emotionally involved, and once you're emotionally involved, it feels like more connected to somebody when you're talking to somebody, when you're, listening to somebody, or when you're discussing something. So it's like more
Yes,
of an emotional thing that comes into place and comes into picture, rather than just being, somebody who's distant, or, have certain sort of friends or peer groups around. So
yeah.
I
This
feel.
child should feel that my mother is at home, my second mother is in the school. They should feel that relation with the teacher. That is there.
Absolutely, ma'am. Very well said. So it is, I mean, yes, obviously. So if somebody who feels like more connected and more attached to a place, socially, emotionally, and mentally, that's how
Right,
you create a bond wherein people will come back and forth and, be happy as at home into a school.
right, ma'am. Right.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
ma'am. So coming on to another question is, what all skills needed to understand and manage emotions?
Yeah, ma'am. Very great questions you're asking. Like, really, it's a skill-based profession, should I say? Like, the managing the students is a big task for the teacher, and it's in the like mostly in the tricky situations where the child faces the problems in their life and all. Like, for example, like we should understand, we should recognize the ability of a child, where the child is good to prove himself or herself, and with his emotions, we should give him the good learning, a good skill where child can prove and which is useful for him in his future life. For that, again, I can say the child should have a self-awareness. So child should understand the skill. If the child is having that skill, really I'm good in dancing, as I told before. So if the child will understand this, realization should be done by the school to the child. So we should not say yes, you do only study and all. So child should understand through that also I can get my goal, I can achieve my goal. So that self-awareness is very necessary. Second thing is the reflection. I can say your reflection and how our reflection is the best person is the mirror. Okay, if we'll stand in front of the mirror gives us the full definition of ourselves. It defines our personality. So it means why in that we can discover, like if the girl stands in front of the mirror and see that she sees that whether I put my bindi properly or not. So in the same way, child can stand in front of the mirror and he can see what are the things are less in me. I can improve myself. In that, I always, even I tell the children when they are preparing the speech, I always tell them stand in front of the mirror and give a speech. So mirror itself says ki how you're looking, how you're delivering the speech and all. So these things are very important. So child should understand what he says. And the third is acceptance. That I always tells the children ki yes, children are children. They always do the naughtiness. But the child should have the ability to accept the mistakes. If you accept the mistakes, of course, slowly with the guidance, the children will improve themselves. Once if you understand your mistakes, you will try to improve and will take the steps to improve themselves. So this is important thing. And the second thing is we should have a perspective, like what we are thinking. Yes, correct. So we can manage the emotions and we can work on that, which helps us to prove our work very well. And we should have an empathy. Instead of sympathy, we should have an empathy. Yes, we can guide and we can try him or we can motivate him to do his work more better way. So these are the things which I wanted that teacher should help the students, and in that way they can help the students a lot. So if the teacher is having the positive mind, so slowly, surely the child teacher can create a good future for the child. So instead of taking everything in a negative way, there are two types, two faces of a coin. If the everything having the two plus faces, like negative and positive, everything, if you take it in a positive, yes, it is positive. If you think it is a negative, it's negative. So same things we have to explain the children. Instead of thinking for the negative things, you always think positive. Positive things give you the success in your life, and you can achieve your goal in a very well. Okay.
Absolutely, ma'am. A
Yeah.
very right way to put it across is, you just don't need to have the solid characteristics of something, but small touch points where you can have just empathy, self awareness, or you have a reflection. So these are the points that you've touched, right, ma'am? So these are the places wherein you have that thing which can. So these are, I would say, small steps which can make a larger difference or a big difference when it comes to social emotional learning. And since rightly said, ma'am, since we are coming back from pandemic wherein we really don't know what student or which child has
Right.
suffered how much. It is just how being empathetic we can is the right way to move forward and to acknowledge and understand what socially and emotionally they're going through. So
Right.
it's very important when you come to empathy, that people have forgotten. Maybe I think there are times wherein people have forgotten what empathy was all about. So
Right.
what exactly, so there are a number of people who will sympathize just because you don't have something or certain things are lacking in your life. But empathy is one thing wherein you can tell people that though you are not being making that pity of something that they don't have. It's just like a grand gesture of telling that okay, things are done. Now let's how do we move forward is how to live life in a better way, in a positive way.
That's necessity now, today's current position.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, ma'am, thank you so much for imparting your knowledge and your experience on the topic. It was indeed an insightful and informative session wherein we've discussed some real life experiences with you. Ma'am, looking forward to more such sessions like you. Mm,
Yeah, sure, ma'am, sure. I'll
sure,
be
ma'am.
more happy. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, indeed, we are pleasure, ma'am. So, signing off today with this session with Neeta ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again. With this note, we'll be ending this session. Do subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon for more notifications. Have a great evening.